Well, good morning. Happy Thanksgiving to everyone. This is Thanksgiving weekend up here in Canada for those folks down in the States that are watch these things. We do it a bit earlier up here. But anyway, today's the Sunday that we like to gather together as churches to give our thanks. And two of our churches this weekend, we're continuing what we started last weekend and celebrating World Communion Day. Two of our churches this week get communion. That's in Chatsworth and Latona down in Dornoch. But anyway, let's take a look at our scripture today. And this is coming from the book of Deuteronomy. And Moses is speaking, and Deuteronomy was written right before, it's written in the context of being right before the Israelites enter into the land that God had promised to give them and their ancestors. And the passage that I'm reading here, chapter 8, is a reminder not to forget God, who has given them this wonderful land. Not to forget, but to be thankful, but also to show that gratitude by living according to the way that God would give them there in the law of Moses, the Ten Commandments. But here we are going to read from Deuteronomy chapter 8, verses 7 to 18. For the Lord your God is bringing you into a good land, a land flowing with streams, with springs and underground waters welling up in valleys and hills, a land of wheat and barley, of vines and fig trees and pomegranates, a land of olive trees and honey, a land where you may eat bread without scarcity, where you will lack nothing, a land whose stones are iron, and from whose hills you may mine copper. You shall eat your fill, and bless the Lord your God for the good land that he has given you. Take care that you do not forget the Lord your God by failing to keep his commandments, his ordinances, and his statutes, which I am commanding you today. When you have eaten your fill and have built your fine houses and live in them, and when your herds and flocks have multiplied, and your silver and gold is multiplied, and all that you have is multiplied, then do not exalt yourself, forgetting the Lord your God, who brought you out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of slavery, who led you through the great and terrible wilderness, an arid wasteland with poisonous snakes and scorpions. He made water flow for you from flint rock, and he fed you in the wilderness with manna that your ancestors did not know, to humble you and to test you, and in the end to do you good. Do not say to yourself, my power and the might of my own hand have gotten me this wealth. But remember the Lord, your God, for it is he who gives you power to get wealth, so that he may confirm his covenant that he swore to your ancestors, as he is doing today. The word of the Lord. Thanks be to God. Talking a bit about gratitude, being thankful. It's been said that if gratitude were a pill, everybody would be taking it. The positive health benefits of gratitude are so indisputably panaceutic that truly, if it came in pill form, we would be lining up to buy it in bulk and probably trying our best to overdose on it if possible. I made up a word there you might have noticed, panaceutic, and it comes from the word panacea, which means cure-all. Gratitude has a profoundly good curative effect on us. Well, of course, I'm exaggerating here a bit to make my point, but the fact still remains that study after study has indisputably shown that gratitude is remarkably beneficial to physical and mental and relational health. If we look at what it does to the body chemistry, to our chemistry, the science community has found that making a practice of being grateful, which is finding things to be grateful for, taking time throughout the day to just stop and count your blessings, before you go to bed, whatever. Taking time to be grateful, the practice of being grateful, will cause increases in two important to feeling good brain chemicals, serotonin and dopamine. These chemicals are associated with happiness and pleasure. If the levels of either or both of those chemicals are out of whack low, well, you'll be suffering some form of depression. Practicing gratitude can have the effect on those chemicals that taking antidepressant medications have. They've also found that the practice of being grateful reduces the level of stress hormones in the body. The bad stuff that stress does to our bodies, being grateful can reduce. The result of this bettered brain and body chemistry is astronomically as well as gastronomically good. Making a practice of finding things to be thankful for has been shown to reduce anxiety and depression and improve overall mood. Being grateful just makes you feel better, more energetic, positive, contented, and so on. The reduction in stress hormones that's brought about by practicing gratitude has some very huge benefits. It lowers blood pressure and inflammation throughout the body. And reducing inflammation leads to a happier digestive system, less pain throughout the body, and fewer trips to the bathroom. Less indigestion and less pain and fewer trips to the bathroom. Well, who wouldn't that make happy? But anyway, practicing gratitude also promotes better cardiovascular health, giving you more energy and reducing the risk of heart attack and stroke. If you go to sleep thinking on the things that you're grateful for, rather than ruminating on the negatives, your sleep will be longer and more restful. More and better sleep is a major physical and mental health benefit. Thinking of things to be grateful for before stressful tasks will increase your ability to focus on the task by short-circuiting the stressing out over it mental mechanism, which kicks in and can be so debilitating when it comes to trying to get stuff done. In the area of self-worth, being grateful and expressing gratitude when people do nice things for you increases your self-esteem by helping you to realize that people care about you enough as to want to spend their time and resources on you. Being grateful makes you an easier person to be around, more positive, patient, and relaxed with other people. It aids the formation of the wisdom of humility. In the long term, the intentional practice of being grateful actually rewires the brain so that you're more resilient when life makes you swallow those bitter pills. Gratitude in the face of adversity is a major component of personal strength. Well, I think I've probably established that gratitude is overwhelmingly good for us. I think we should now wrestle with the question of why we have such a hard time at being grateful. Why doesn't it just seem to come naturally for us? Look at raising kids. We have to teach our kids when to say thank you. They just don't feel that way right off the bat and know what to do with it. Being grateful is a switch that we have to turn on in ourselves. We have to discipline ourselves to be grateful, make a practice of it. All of us have plenty in our lives to be thankful for, but for some reason, we have to stop ourselves and remember to count our blessings. It's odd. Here's a few reasons. There are some negative mental behaviors or emotions, or what I don't know exactly what to call them, that come easier to us than does gratitude. And these negative mental behaviors are soul-destroying when they get a hold of us. Envy is one of them. Instead of being satisfied with who we are and what we have, we desire the traits and the possessions of others. Materialism. Rather than just being satisfied with what we have, we think that having more of the latest and greatest stuff will make us complete. And then there's cynicism. The cynic thinks that everybody else is only in it for themselves, and the cynic never seems to see anything, the good in anything. And finally, there's that rare gift called narcissism, where we, being sarcastic about that, narcissism. This is where we think we are entitled to everything. The world owns us. We can't see anything as a gift because we think we deserve it. Here's a big problem with this. Psychologists say we have a negativity bias, which means we tend to more readily take notice of and dwell on the negative rather than on the positive. We react to negative stimuli and events in our lives more readily and more exhaustively. We spend our resources on that rather than on the positive. We remember traumatic experiences better than we remember positive things that happen to us. We take insults to heart and downplay, if not ignore, the praise that we receive. We will think about, ruminate upon the negative possibilities that could happen, rather than focusing on the possibility of good outcomes that could happen from the things that we do. And this is the kind of thing we call worry. We tend to let the negative, rather than the positive events of our lives, be what forms us, shapes who we are and how we see the world. We are so negatively biased that go to work, we've all had performance reviews, When we receive these reviews, we will remember that one negative bit of helpful criticism rather than the myriads of praises that our employers just sung about us. Well, I don't think I need to go into the harmful effects that this negativity bias has on mental, physical, and relational health, because it's pretty much at the heart of what's wrong with the world today. We just want to see the negative and react to it, rather than be grateful and work towards positive outcomes. But anyway, since we're talking about gratitude, I will say practicing gratitude has the effect of short-circuiting our negativity bias, and in the long run can rewire our brains to be more inclined to see the good and be hopeful and inclined to work to make a difference. So anyway, it's Thanksgiving Sunday. This is an opportunity in which we take a moment to be thankful and to remember the God to whom we ultimately owe our thanks for everything. We should also note that God has called us to live in a particular way as to demonstrate our gratitude. I think the core message of the passage that we read from Deuteronomy is simply, let's not forget the one to whom we owe our thanks, and the way that we go about this remembering, of showing our thanks, is to live the particular way He's given us to live, so that we reflect his image, so that we look like God in the world. In ancient Israel, that way was prescribed in the law of Moses. And for us today, it is the way of the cross, the Jesus way, which fulfills the law. You see, thankfulness is more than a feeling. Gratitude demands a response from us. There will probably be a myriad of articles in lifestyle sections of newspapers this Sunday morning doing just what I did at the start of this sermon and laying out the benefits of being grateful to our mental and physical and relational health. Yet none of those articles are going to offer a suggestion as to whom we owe our thanks. The advice is just going to be conjure up feelings of gratitude and reap the benefits. Gratitude truly is a pill we should all take for the benefit of our physical, mental, and relational health. But it is also something that deserves more from us than just feeling grateful and saying thank you. Gratitude is something that we should put into practice, live out in our lives. As I pondered the topic of gratitude here these last few days, working on this sermon, one thing I've had a hard time coming up with is trying to figure out exactly what gratitude is. Most definitions I've found call it an emotion. It's feeling thankful. Well, I'm not satisfied with simply calling gratitude a feeling, an emotion. It's more than that. I compare it to the feeling of being sorry. The emotion of remorse, I guess is what we would call it. One can feel sorry for hurting another person. But feeling sorry doesn't make amends. It's not enough. The better way to express remorse is to work at never doing it again, what you did to hurt the person, and addressing the issues of why you did it in the first place. That's putting the feeling into practice. Just to give you an example, the only sincere apology an alcoholic can give for the damage done is to never drink again, work to understand what was driving the drinking, and all the while daily working to be a better person. So it is with gratitude. It's not enough to simply feel grateful. We have to strive to understand what drives our ingratitude, and all the while strive to live in such a way as to ensure that our presence in the lives of others will be something that they're grateful for. A good thing to do this year at Thanksgiving, in addition to counting our blessings and being thankful, would be doing some soul searching and asking ourselves an interesting question. Am I being a presence in the lives of others, particularly those closest to me, for whom they are thankful? Am I being towards other people in a way that they are thankful for having known me, for having me in their lives? Usually it's a gift of kindness that arouses thankfulness in us. Therefore, we just got to ask ourselves, am I living this life that God has entrusted to me in such a way as to be a gift of kindness to others, particularly those closest to me? To be a gift of kindness requires humility, patience, self-giving, selflessness, unconditional love, forgiveness, meekness, honesty, courage, and self-control. All these qualities, these are what the Holy Spirit forms in us. You know, the odd thing about gratitude, excuse me, is that it is one of those things, excuse me again, got the frog this morning. The odd thing about gratitude is that it's one of those things in our makeup as human beings. It's one of those things in who we are as humans that points us to God. Once you set about noting the people and things and events in your life that you're grateful for, you soon start to realize that there is someone else in your life, an unseen presence greater than yourself, who has been with you, watching over you your whole life. And this person greater than yourself has been a gift of kindness to you. And this is God. God, out of his love and kindness, has given us each so much to be thankful for. It's humbling when we realize that God has been there doing kind things for us. It makes us feel beloved. If we want to know more about who this God is, then we look to Jesus, because God has revealed himself as Jesus and has shown us the way to live in response to God's kindness. We must at all cost live as a gift of kindness to others. Live the Jesus way. Be a gift of kindness. You yourself be the gift of kindness in the lives of those people around you. I think gratitude is something that shouldn't just be felt. It should be lived, and lived in such a way as to make other people grateful for having known you. That's about all I got today. And have a happy and safe Thanksgiving, and I hope your meals and your time with family and friends will be warmly blessed with the presence of God with you. And take a moment to tell the people in your life that you're thankful for them. Anyway, I'll leave you with it's probably my favorite Thanksgiving hymn, I guess, For the Fruits of All Creation. And have a good week, and God bless you. For the fruits of all creation, thanks be to God. He is bestowed on every nation, thanks be to God. For the plowing, sowing, reaping, silent growth while we were sleeping, future needs in earth safekeeping, thanks be to God. In the just reward of labor, God will is done. In the help we give our neighbor, God's will is done. In our worldwide task of caring for the hungry and despairing, in the harvest
astound us for the truth that still